is framing things in a way that makes those who were fighting for equity and justice, they were the ones that were anarchists. They were the ones that were divisive. If it's getting worse, it's because of them.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about recent, right, United States history, right? 40 years ago in the 80s. In the 80s is when sundown towns in the United States reached their peaks. If you don't know what a sundown town is, chat, a sundown town is a town where people of color were literally systematically either murdered or arrested simply for being in the town after sundown, hence its name. They reached their peak in the 80s, okay, in the 80s, right? 40 years ago. That means many of the people, okay, who are old enough to have written these textbooks were alive and very much likely in their adulthood at the time when these sundown towns were at their peak. Which means, to be very clear, they're very aware of it, and B, might have some sympathies for perhaps their cousins, brothers, uncles, whoever might have participated in that.
Yeah.
And that's like, those people are very much alive today.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Or like you tell a great story, I'll tell a different one. So some Black Americans would venture into sundown towns, causing tension with local police. That's the way they would cover it in their school books. It's absolute madness. Now, very briefly, they do go even further back in history. So for instance, Accelerated Christian Education textbook, if you want to learn about early man, you can see as they snuck up on the wily Brontosaurus, wearing jeans and wielding swords. Okay, so there weren't men at the same time as dinosaurs. I think we all know that. And to the extent that there were like men eventually, jeans are more recent. I will say though, I was very disappointed because there is so little that is true in that image that I assumed, and I almost wanted it to be true, to be totally perfect. I was like, I bet you the Stegosaurus and the Brontosaurus are separated by like 100 million years, but no, they were concurrent. They got that one right. But that's the only thing in that image that's actually accurate, Ben.
Yeah, I do have a confession. Now that we're at the young Earth stuff, this is my confession. In high school, I went to a public school, but after school, I may or may not have been very religious and gone out of my way to do like after school religious classes that were very much like, and remember kids, harass your teachers and tell them that the world is 3,000 years old.
Oh God. Causing tension with local teachers. Anyway, okay, we're rapidly running out of time. We're gonna very quickly do a brief version of this last story, and then we're gonna have to call an end to the show. Sorry, director. Arnold Schwarzenegger has decided to lash out at those who are complaining about masks and vaccines and all of that. Take a look at this.
Oh, there is a virus here. It kills people. And the only way we prevent it is to get vaccinated, to wear masks, to do social distancing, washing your hands all the time, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom, because with freedom comes obligations and kind of responsibilities. We cannot just say, I have the right to do X, Y, and Z. When you affect other people, that is when it gets serious. It's like no different than a traffic light. We put a traffic light at an intersection so someone doesn't kill someone else by accident. So this is why we have a traffic light. You cannot say, no one is going to tell me that I'm going to stop here, that I have to stop at this traffic light here. I'm going to go right through it. Yeah, then you kill someone else, and then it is your doing. We have to come together rather than fighting and always just saying, this, according to my principles, this is a free country, and I'm going to have the freedom to wear no mask. Yeah, you have the freedom to wear no mask, but you know something? You're a schmuck for not wearing a mask.
Jeez, I didn't expect this. I didn't know that he'd be on our side. I mean, he was, after all, a Republican governor and all that, Ben. But you know, I'll take everyone on our side if we can. Maybe some conservative grew up liking his movies, the macho roles and all that, and might be convinced. Kind of doubt it. They are, after all, schmucks, I'm learning.
Yeah, in before the right wing starts circulating Terminator memes where he's like holding a syringe or something, like, I'm here to vaccinate you, right? Like, that's definitely the direction they're gonna go.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw recently they were using those I am Legend has vaccines turn people into zombies. The writer of that has had to strike back against it. But anyway, Schwarzenegger, thank you. We appreciate your service. Okay, that is unfortunately all the time we have. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Where and when can people watch Galaxy Brain?
Yeah, Galaxy Brain is gonna be on Twitch, on the Young Turks Twitch channel this Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 3 o'clock Central. The other times for the other time zones. And it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time.
That's awesome. Really had fun with you on the show. I hope you have a good one.
Yep, you too.
And for all of you watching at home, reminder, multicasts end at the end of this week, starting Monday. They will not be going on. You'll have to watch at youtube.com/The Young Turks, but freely available, all that. Want to thank you for watching. The Community Garbage People of the Week poll is up on the community tab of the YouTube channel, so please go vote. I have heard this is one of the toughest choices we've had so far. There's a lot of garbage. And so we'll give you those results tomorrow when Brett joins me on the show. But until then, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon.
Yep, you know what it is. Welcome to Indisputable. Good to be with you. We got a lot of show today. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking down news of the day, we got the big homie, Wosny Lumbre, host of Wosnia, 10 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesdays, that's on Twitch. Also host of Woke Bros and writer for The Ringer. He will join me in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, my top news story for today. What if I told you that roughly 20 years ago, a Baltimore police officer shot and killed a 14-year-old kid? The department thought it was murder. They charged him with manslaughter. And then because of some legal maneuvering and the help of the union, this cop was allowed to remain a cop for 20 damn years, secretly, still getting paid with no gun and no arrest authority. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what happened in Baltimore. Almost 20 years ago, a police officer named Edward Gorwell beat not only criminal charges, but administrative hearing charges as well. Edward Gorwell had shot and killed a teenager in 1993 and was charged with manslaughter. Years went by as the case wound through the court system and was dropped eventually by prosecutors in 1999. Let's put up a picture of this disgraced officer. There he is. He's been getting paid, and I've done the research. I know how much he's been getting paid. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's been getting paid even though the department and the justice system believed he committed murder, manslaughter, shooting a 14-year-old in the back. Here's some background to it. Gorwell joined the police department in 1990. In 1993, he fatally shot 14-year-old Samant D. Thomas in the back. The boy was fleeing from a stolen car in a densely wooded area at the edge of Gwynns Falls Park in West Baltimore. Gorwell said at the time he heard a gunshot and then opened fire, hitting the running teen. No gun other than the cop's gun was found at the scene. So what do you have here? 20 years ago, 14-year-old kid running away. White male police officer shoots, kills the kid, and claims, hey, I thought I heard gunfire. No gun was ever found. He gets charged with manslaughter. He has to go to trial. His department, well, they believe he's dirty. They believe he did it. Let's put up another picture of this clown. I found this picture at a place where cops trade patches with one another. He has a patch account. His first trial in 1993 ended in a mistrial. Why did it end in a mistrial? Because one of the jurors failed to show up for deliberations. That's the only reason why. After a series of appeals that reached the US Supreme Court, Gorwell was scheduled for trial again in 1999. Keep that year in mind, 1999. They're trying to get this guy. They believe he committed manslaughter. They think he unlawfully shot a kid, a 14-year-old, in the back. 1999, trial happening again. What happens? 2 days before the trial date, just 2 days, ladies and gentlemen, a police crime lab technician magically decided to conduct a test for gunshot residue using new testing equipment which had been unavailable to police in 1993. The test revealed traces of gunshot residue from Thomas's left hand, being the kid. Police said at the time, even though no weapon was found at the scene, prosecutors then dropped the case on the morning of the scheduled trial. So years later, right before his next trial, the crime lab magically finds gunshot residue on the hand of the victim. There's more. In 2002, fearing that Gorwell might prevail in an administrative hearing, the department agreed to let him stay on the force at an officer's salary and eligible for a pension, but without police powers and without a gun. Why is that? Because they knew he was dirty as hell. But he can stay on the force. We'll just take away his gun. We'll take away his police powers. We'll let him keep drawing a salary. Taxpayers have been paying for this clown for decades. There's more. The Inspector General's office said in a report released Wednesday that it received a tip complaining about the arrangement, investigated and determined Gorwell's permanent suspension of his police powers made him eligible to be fired because he was unable to carry out his duties. Now I want you to see this, ladies and gentlemen. They are already reframing the discussion. I don't give a damn about him being fired. He's supposed to be in jail. He's supposed to be in prison. But now the conversation is about should he be employed or not. Over the last 5 years, Gorwell's salary rose from $83,800 to $92,500. The man got paid more money while he earned significant amounts of overtime each year, overtime between $28,000 and $35,000 annually. The Inspector General's office said Gorwell was paid $600,000 total over the past 5 years alone. What did this officer have to say? Now, he was allowed to resign. They still didn't even fire the guy. They let him resign. He said, and I quote on social media, "I have had the honor and pleasure of working with some of the greatest heroes on earth." Gorwell wrote on Facebook, this was August 1st. "To those who are still in the grind, stay true to yourself, stay safe, back each other up like they did for him, and join the club in your terms." No remorse, no guilty conscience, nothing. Baltimore, the system allowed for this to happen as well. Injustice all the way around, and that the conclusion of it is still a dead 14-year-old kid from 20 years ago who never got the justice he deserved. Big Waz, what are your thoughts about this?
You know, it's crazy that the guy so clearly did a poor, he was bad at his job, right? And so they come to the decision that he should no longer be on the streets, meaning he shouldn't be allowed to police people. He shouldn't be allowed to carry a badge and a gun. So it's like, obviously his incompetence is well known, so they take him off the street. But you know, the other thing that strikes me, Dr. Richie, is that generally we believe in, labor power, right? Except for in the case of police unions, man, these guys aren't protecting like paid sick leave and vacation pay and great health benefits and all of that. Basically, they're protecting these guys' rights to shoot people whenever the hell they want. 99.9% of labor unions, that's not what their function is, right? It's those things that I mentioned before. It's like keeping your job intact. Whereas the police, it feels like oftentimes all they serve to do is to justify abhorrent behavior by officers. We're not talking about, the livelihoods of people and making their jobs dignified work and places that are worthwhile showing up to and not being pushed around by their bosses and managers. The union just comes in and says, no, these guys should have the right to indiscriminately kill the citizens of the state. And it's sad, it's awful. And the fact that this guy is gonna collect a pension and that, he made 120 G's a year for the last 5 years to be an awful cop, right? Not to be great at his job, to suck at his job. That's just awful.
Yeah, and this is why people have a problem with the protections in policing. This makes no sense in any other profession other than policing. And at the center of this was obviously the police union. They're still to this day standing with that same guy. Let me shift gears. This is an extremely sad story, but this is the cause and effect reality of groups like QAnon. Authorities say Matthew Taylor Coleman confessed to murdering his 2 young children in Mexico because of a QAnon conspiracy. A California surfing school owner who was charged with killing his 2 children in Mexico is a follower of QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories, who thought the children, and I quote, were going to grow into monsters, so he had to kill them, according to the federal government. Let me put up a picture of what once was seemingly a happy family. This is tough. This is tough. Those children are dead. That wife, her world is completely upside down. Matthew Taylor Coleman, 40 years old, was charged Wednesday with foreign murder of US nationals in connection with the death of his 2-year-old son and his 10-month-old daughter. According to the US Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, authorities said Coleman confessed to the killings and told the FBI that he used a spear fishing gun to stab his children. Coleman's wife, identified only by her initials, contacted Santa Barbara police after her husband had taken the kids out on a Saturday, but didn't tell her where they were going. She grew concerned after he failed to respond to her messages. Her concern was well warranted. A judge ordered that Coleman be held without bond Wednesday and scheduled his arraignment for August 31st. According to the complaint, ladies and gentlemen, according to the complaint, Coleman said that he knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew it. But it was the only course of action that would save the world. The complaint says Coleman told authorities that he learned about serpent DNA through QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories. This is how dangerous this stuff is. This is how dangerous it is. This guy was a business owner on the social media profiles, seemingly a happy family, looked as if he cared for his children. And now another victim with other victims connected to QAnon conspiracy theories. QAnon is more recent, it has a more recent conspiracy theory premised on the belief that a similar global cabal at the top of the US government is secretly murdering and eating children, and that Donald Trump was quietly working to defeat them during his time in office. That is a current freaking conspiracy theory being promoted by QAnon members. Was tragic.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about the heinous and just horrific nature of the crimes against these young children. That's, anybody can recognize that this is a monstrosity, and it's horrible. And our hearts go out to the families of those victims, because they're gonna be dealing with something that I can't even imagine or begin to even try to imagine. But it does make me wonder about the kind of citizenry that we are fostering here in America, where people are susceptible to this type of stuff. We don't have an infrastructure or a system built to deal with mental health issues. We play lip service to caring about that kind of stuff, but we don't have the system in place to deal with these vulnerable types of people. And I don't know, Dr. Richie, that we have evolved as a human being to deal with mass media and just the stuff that we deal with on the internet, right? I don't know if our brains are equipped to deal with this stuff. And also it makes me think about Russiagate. And I remember people complaining about the Russian interference. And what was the interference? They're telling people that Hillary Clinton like eats babies and all, the fact that we have a citizenry that's susceptible to this type of stuff. I think that speaks more harshly of us than it would some Russian or any other foreign actor who could influence American citizens with junk, right? This isn't, say what the US government has done in places like Guatemala and Chile and Iran, where they literally overthrow through democratically elected governments, right? Like that's not that's not what the Russian interference was. It was just them putting out rumor and innuendo and people running with it. So I think it says a lot about the type of people we have that we're making here in America, that they're susceptible to just it's junk.
Yeah, and it's a cult-like where you are indoctrinated to a belief system contrary to what you were taught or understand as truth. And that's the thing about indoctrination. And typically it impacts individuals who are more mentally vulnerable than anyone else. But here's the reality of indoctrination. It causes you to not critically think about what you believe. That's what it does to you. And so you can start believing and adhering to a doctrine or to a philosophy completely contrary to what you've been taught, completely contrary to what you know, but you have been indoctrinated to believe something adverse of the facts. And here's the other part, and you made a great point here. Have we evolved enough for this kind of mass information and mass deceit? Because remember, there are still people thinking, let's be real, that Donald Trump is going to be appointed president. We don't even do that in America. That's not even in the Constitution. But there are people who really believe that the man will be appointed president of the United States by some mystical power, all right? I know it's different, but it's the same linear thinking. It is not rooted in anything fact-worthy, but people believe it as truth. All right, we got more on the other side. Stick and stay is indisputable.
So a lot of progressive office holders are doing something fun. I like fun. They're doing the last 2 years in 2 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try it here. First, I wanna let you guys know about the years before that. Hey, remember we started the Just Democrats here on the Young Turks. It was officially launched on our air, basically by you guys. And then we featured AOC, we featured Cori Bush, and Ro Khanna became the first ever Just Democrat incumbent, all on the Young Turks. Now, the last 2 years have been a spectacular follow-up to that. So let's put the 2 minutes on the clock and do this. Young Turks got to start back in 2002, and I think we've been an important part of the progressive movement ever since. What we mainly do is amplify the progressive voice and candidates out there, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Right now, we're currently #1 most engaged news politics network online, beating CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, all of them. We're #1 in total minutes watched. That means not only the number of people watching, but how long they watch. We just crossed 20 million followers and 500 million monthly views. Now, why? That's because actually the country's progressive. It's 2/3 progressive. And you guys have allowed us to be your voice, and we're incredibly thankful for that. So what did we do with that voice? Well, let's look at 2019. We went all over the country talking to you guys and the candidates. So we were in Miami, we were in Detroit, we were in Houston, and we were in Iowa. In fact, we were all over Iowa. You guys were all over Iowa, and all of the candidates saw you guys. We had wonderful people speaking, like the one and only Nina Turner at our rallies. Bernie Sanders stopped by, Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We interviewed almost everyone on the campaign trail, with the exception of Biden and Buttigieg. And we held them accountable. We even did a progressive economic pledge, and so many wonderful people signed on to that. Bernie Sanders, Warren, Marianne Williamson, AOC, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and so many others. Now, on top of all that, we started a show called The Conversation, where we featured so many progressive thinkers, writers, and candidates. And one of the candidates we featured in 2019 was Jamal Bowman. Here comes Jamal Bowman. Then we had an amazing 2020. We hired a climate reporter. Damage Report passed 500,000 subscribers. Young Turks passed 5 million subscribers. We're getting the message out to more and more people. Bernie Sanders comes on in the heat of the primary. He comes on after the election to say what we're gonna do for the future. And then Marie Newman wins. Jamal Bowman wins. Cori Bush wins. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. And she's running for Congress and she comes on the Young Turks first. On election week, we had nearly 2 million hours of viewing. We're #1 destination for progressives. You made all that happen. This is amazing. And thank you for those 2 years. What, I went past 2 minutes? Of course!
Viewers had asked for an interview with the TYT Lizard. Mr. Lizard. Oh, you changed colors today. Nice. I don't even know how you feel about us. Do you even like us?
Well, you guys made me this awesome house, so I'm kind of in your debt. I was found outside on the street, and you gave me a home. Granted, it was a really crappy home for a while, but then through the power of fundraising, I became a person who has a multi-level Trump-style mansion.
You do. By the way, you never looked better, man. Normally, you're just green or just brown, but today you're in mid-lizard, right?
I'm not very smart. I'm a lizard, so I don't know how the science works. I guess this is just my mood. It's not every day that thresholds like this are broken. I'm just so excited. I can't contain my pigmentation.
And now you're showing it off.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen the lizard like this before.
Welcome back to Indisputable. We got a lot of comments. Let's get to it. Thank you all for always engaging with the show. And don't forget, stay after the show. We got Ray Actions with Ray Vanna. All right, dope stuff. Make sure you stick and stay. TYT member Curl Dragon says, "Was what a lovely surprise." Smiley face. My big homie Dave Schmidt. You supposed to be working, Dave. Hello, Dr. Richie. Keep bringing the heat, my brother. Love you. Love you back, big homie. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon. Further proof of the cult of Trump. Jim Jones didn't just convince almost 1,000 people to drink poison. He convinced them to first make their own children drink it. That's a hell of a point. YouTube super chat, Mickey Mallory. There's no doubt that QAnon conspiracies are being used to weaponize its believers. If it can convince a man to kill his kids, what else can it do? Terrorist attack, January 6th. Overthrow of the government, attempted. Trevor Watson, thank you, Trevor. Jill Wagner, hey Doc, have you seen Cullen Hoback's documentary Q, Into the Storm? It's unbelievable and a must watch for everyone. I believe he exposed who Q is and is really sad and in my mind, criminal. I have not, but I've definitely heard about it and I need to check it out. Probably this weekend. All right, Kelly O'Hara. Too many people gone thanks to QAnon, or more accurately, QAcon. I like that. They're always throwing a tizzy. It makes me dizzy. When will it stop? Very well said. I like how you put that, Kelly. Coco T. Taxpayer thievery is what it is. And we need to start talking about how we, as taxpayers, also match their retirement contributions dollar for dollar, as we are their employers. Sarah L. Yisrael, shalom, Dr. Richie, blessings to you as well. COP, the cop secret deal. Larry Love Jr., where was the DOJ all this time? I mean, really, 20 damn years. Jim Garcia, what about the standby jurors? Good point. Okay, Twitch. My friend, this is from April NP81. My friend Jose Antonio Gutierrez was 14 in 1995 and was murdered by LAPD officer Michael Falvo. He is still employed by LAPD last time I checked. So sorry to hear about your friend. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my next story. There's a pervert cop allegedly out here in the world. Let's put a picture of this cop. His name is Donald Nunez, 66 years of age, 23 years as a police officer. He's out of Slidell, Louisiana. This officer has now been arrested for voyeurism, obscenity with a juvenile under the age of 12. Here's some details. The Slidell Police Department received a criminal complaint on Nunez on Tuesday, August 10th. That's according to the police. The department asked the Louisiana Attorney General's office to investigate the complaint, and Nunez was arrested soon after. Nunez has worked for the Slidell Police Department since 1998. He is currently on unpaid leave pending the outcome of the investigation, according to the police. Let's put his picture up again. Remember, voyeurism, indecent behavior, obscenity with a juvenile under the age of 12. It does not give us the exact age right now. Still a developing story. This is a quote from the police chief, Randy Fandel. Disgusting, sickening, and reprehensible are just a few words that come to mind. Police officers are held to a much higher standard, that's a damn lie, chief, and have the delicate job of maintaining the public's trust. When I was informed about this complaint yesterday, we did not waste any time stripping this officer of his badge and placing him under arrest. This is a black eye on us all. Hey, chief, he's been with y'all for 23 damn years. You think this 12-year-old or person under the age of 12 is his first and only victim? Do you not think this individual has utilized his position and leverage of authority in order to gain trust and access to impressionable young children while wearing that badge and uniform? Are you going to launch an investigation into his total career at your police agency? Will you now involve the federal government and other entities to make sure that every victim that he has encountered gets justice? That's what I want to hear, chief. All of this damn, well, we did the right thing when we found out we arrested him. It's a black eye on us all. No, sir, not good enough for me. Because you know good and damn well, as a criminal profiler, this is not his only victim. You know that. Waz, what are your thoughts?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned the absurdity in that statement about police officers being held to the highest standard, and we know that they're not. Oftentimes they're held to a completely different standard than normal citizens are. And the reason why it's important, it's like when you go to court and they present police statements as official statements, we're just supposed to assume that these guys are so honorable. Anything that they put in a report, anything that they put down in writing is the truth, right? As best as they could have seen it at the time. And that's always been the kind of standard for police. But we see that obviously these guys are human beings. But the only way to ensure that, they're on the up and up is to hold them accountable when they do mess up. Not brush it under the rug, not cover it up, not keep them on the force even after they have infraction after infraction after infraction. Is to ensure that, look, when you mess up, there's gonna be consequences. And in fact, for the police, it's the opposite. They're incentivized to behave recklessly because even when they do get caught, finally, oftentimes they go off scot-free because of something, the blue line or the blue wall or all of this other crazy stuff. And all it does is erode trust within the institutions that we think are supposed to be here to serve and protect us. Like, I don't know how you can see all the evidence over the years and decades of police misconduct and cover up after cover up after cover up. I don't know how any citizen can willfully have any faith in the sort of integrity of policing here in America.
That's right. And here's the reality, brother. 96% of Americans believe that police reform is necessary. Police did that to themselves. You see, people didn't do that to the police. People generally used to trust the police. They gave them more trust than they deserved. They messed up the trust. And as long as you have corrupt cops, as long as you have a culture that protects the corruption rather than exposes it and excommunicates it from the profession, you will continue to have extreme distrust between cop and community. The us and them mentality that currently exists inside of our American structure was started by them. Let's be very clear where it came from. And their inability to utilize the authority that they have to actually hold cops accountable, their inability to do so is why this problem continues to permeate in the wrong direction. We will keep holding them accountable on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free. Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I was just making sure he doesn't damage my car.
That's my husband. He's a Marine. He's not going to touch your car.
That's okay. I'm allowed to watch it. It's my car.
He's not going to touch it.
I literally got out of my car and he yelled at you because of a sticker that I choose to have on my car.
Just
example for your child.
Go in the store. It is a great example that you're harassing my husband. Get back. Get back. Go in the store and stay away from my husband. Bitch.
I came here to get some groceries.
Go do your job then. Go take care of yourself.
What is your goal here? What are you doing?
Getting you away from my husband right now. It's called loyalty.
Over there.
It's called loyalty. Get away
It's
from
called
him.
you're
filming him. You're filming him, you bitch.
It's public
It's
property.
America, bitch. It's America, bitch. Go into the store. Mind your own business. He's at his vehicle. He's not in your vehicle.
Your husband's right
Stay
there.
away from him.
I didn't do anything. They just started harassing me for no
Harassing
reason.
him. You started the harassment.
I got
Get away from me. Get away from me. What the hell is your problem? You attacked her. You stopped her first. You lost her first. I didn't touch her.
Don't worry.
I'm going back to my car. I'm trying to get to my car.
That's a hot damn mess. So sad. The sticker at the center of this made up controversy says abolish ICE. This is America. Freedom of speech applies. Now, I do have an update before I get into some of the background. According to my sources, yes, that woman was eventually arrested. And the male Karen in this video has been fired from his job. Okay, according to the background, as I was walking into the store like any other day, and they were exiting with her husband having about a minute lead ahead of her, I began to film from the doors before I entered because her husband walked past me after seeing me exit my vehicle and proceeded to flip me off and yell, abolish ICE, F you little C word, okay? So you see, she's filming. She's afraid of what may happen, that someone, this man may damage her property. She did the right thing. The woman says the Karen damaged her phone and glasses, scratched her chest and back, and left her with a swollen and bruised knee. She then told me it was because of my choice in supporting BLM and the liberals. This happened to me, and I should take it as a lesson. It gets deeper. I've learned she works with disabled children, and her husband is in the military of some sort, along with being a realtor in Long Beach, Washington. Hold them accountable. Let's put up her picture again. The Karen. That's old school Karen right there. She's been training Karens for a long time. And when she can't train a Karen, she feels like she's empowered to slap a Karen, to hit a Karen, okay? Because the Karen would not fit her particular philosophical narrative about this country. Now, yes, this is America, which means freedoms are attached, or at least should be. But see, you don't really want to be in America. You're not a real patriot. You're using patriotism and covering it with white nationalism, white supremacy. That's it. Okay, a Big Waz, you saw the whole thing, man. You seem to be in shock over there.
Yeah, I always like to react to these videos in real time because it's just crazy that people leave their house and think, you can complain about the bumper sticker on a stranger's car, and you hit the nail right on the head. Oftentimes when these people are invoking America into their arguments, they're invoking an imagined America, not America as it actually is, the melting pot of a bunch of different cultures, belief systems, religions, et cetera, et cetera. They're thinking of America as they would wish it to be, which is just white people doing whatever the hell they want to do, whenever the hell they want to do it. That's obvious what this lady was talking about when she said, this is America. Because it's like, yeah, this is America. I can have whatever bumper sticker I want. Yeah, and I can express a belief, that ICE is a ridiculous use of government power and government resources, that there isn't some huge issue at our border, and that I don't believe in what they do, right? I don't believe in snatching kids from their families or detention / concentration camps for people, refugees who have arrived here from places in the world that we have as an American government a huge hand in destabilizing.
That's right.
Right? Like it's it's just ridiculous that this woman would be so violent because somebody opposes ICE. Imagine if this lady said she didn't like apple pie or something.
Right. Once again, put up this woman's picture one more time. Put up a picture real quick. Her full name is Mo Darling McLeod, 57 years of age, was arrested on charges of felony assault, disorderly conduct, and criminal mischief. Should have also been arrested for child abuse for what she exposed that young child to. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like, tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitzing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream,
but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members.
Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, AKA Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. I'll refer to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Let me read some of these viewer comments. They are coming in hot and heavy. Okay, Electric Miscellanea says, I'm torn. I really wish there were fewer Karens in the world. But on the other hand, I really love I Wish a Karen Would. And Electric, you're gonna love this too. The I Wish a Karen Would t-shirts are closer than ever, okay? Would it not be amazing if one day somebody with an I Wish a Karen Would t-shirt encounters an actual Karen that we play on the segment, I Wish a Karen Would. Wow. Okay, YouTube super chat. Reyes Guerra. Purging bad cops from the force is a necessary check on negligent police leadership and culture of unaccountability. Yep. Omega Shinron Dragon. Over here in NYC, we have to put up with a leaving Mayor de Blasio have a park destroyed for a higher levy while being helped by our city council, Carlina Rivera, who are all gentrification friendly. Breeze, how many lives did that 66-year-old cop ruin? The roots are rotten, damn right. Schwa Enigma, the Karen looks like what I thought all the discussed witches looked like from the classic witches children book, square feet and all. Made money in the building. My Oakland hood would have got to whooping on that lady. I would have given her a reason to complain. You want to get active? We're gonna get active. All right, LaSalle Lamb, thank you, LaSalle. Selena Anthony, I really wish TYT would cover the craziness David Wilcock feeds his followers. He is an absolute grifter, okay? Twitch, Mama Misa, I'm shooketh. I'm walking distance to Slidell. I have young daughters. My stomach is inside out. You need to check with them. You need to call Slidell and figure out what they're gonna do about this guy and his history. Okay, we got time for one more. RC Tycoon 13. Send them to Florida so then they can reenact Highlander. Damn. Talking about the Karens of the world. There can be only one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, truly horrific. A nurse has literally been trying to kill people. A nurse in Germany with anti-vax views injected thousands of at-risk patients with saline instead of COVID. I kid you not. This is real. The nurse, who has still not yet been publicly identified, injected saline as a placebo in 8,600 people who thought they were getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Police investigators have said that she had aired skeptical views about vaccines in social media posts made prior to her arrest. Damn it, we need to know who this woman is. We need to know who this woman is. I will stay on top of it until we do. Authorities said the nurse was able to access the vials because she was responsible for preparing the vaccines and syringes. Those who were inoculated when the suspected switch took place were all over the age of 70. High-risk individuals, all over the age of 70. Authorities are now sending notices to the 8,600 people who thought they were receiving the COVID vaccine and are advising them to get another shot. Let's hope they're alive. Let's hope they are alive. Why would you not release the information of this person? Why? Okay, this is not the first time an incident like this took place. A similar scandal unfolded in India last month. Thousands paid to receive the COVID-19 vaccine at a vaccination camp, but instead they were given shots of saline solution. Authorities arrested 14 people, alleging they gave around 4,000 people fake or expired vaccines and collected thousands of dollars in the process. There's more. In June, a Wisconsin pharmacist who purposely sabotaged hundreds of COVID-19 vaccine doses, believing them to be unsafe, was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The hell, that's it? 3 years. This to me is akin to murder when you do things like this. And you're in a position of public trust, which means you are supposed to be held to a higher standard of responsibility. That's how it works in this country. Big Waz, what are your thoughts here?
Man, again, people in positions that we're vulnerable, right? In the sense that they're supposed to be helping us, and we grant them the authority to like influence our bodies, our health. This stuff it's serious business, right? And I'm just confused by people who want to impose their own beliefs on others. You can go on Facebook and go on Instagram and rant and rave and do whatever you want, but if you get paid to perform a job function, and these people have opted into a vaccine that they believe is going to help them stay alive longer and protect them from a deadly virus, right, in the midst of a global pandemic, the likes of which we haven't seen since, bubonic plague and the Spanish flu. The idea that this woman would take matters into her own hands to quote unquote protect them from a vaccine is just absurd. And yeah, I would hope that she is prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because this is criminal, it's immoral, it's just horrible stuff. And yeah, I would like to see her get made an example of. If you work in the healthcare field and you don't believe in vaccines, that's your prerogative. But it's not on you to impose your beliefs on the others who are coming to you for help and shielding themselves from, the ravages of this virus.
There you go, brother. And see, that's the point right there. Look at the irony of this. You have individuals like this nurse and others who would proclaim that they are exercising their independence. They would proclaim that they are somehow people of complete integrity because of what they believe. But look at what they're literally doing. They are taking away your independence, your ability, your right to choose. They're making a choice for you. And if they have that much damn integrity, if they're doing this because of what they personally believe, if they have that much integrity, don't lie. Don't manipulate, quit your job. Quit your job. Go full-time anti-vaxxer and let people know exactly what you believe. But tricking people, lying to people, exercising in a way that is unethical, you have absolutely no moral ground at all, period. Somebody else who has no moral ground, Nazi saluting man arrested in racist attack, wanted to kill 60 to 70 people. This is a guy in Florida. He's facing numerous charges after attacking someone because of his race and admitting that he wanted to plan a mass shooting. His name is Jordan Patrick Leahy. Got into a road rage incident after sideswiping another man's vehicle, making a Nazi salute and pretending to shoot the victim. Deputies said that all of this occurred while he was under the influence of alcohol. Remember, we talked about that liquid courage, okay? Let's put a picture up again of this guy. I want people to get a good look at him, okay? After crashing, Leahy stopped his vehicle at an intersection, exited the vehicle, and approached the victim aggressively. Leahy then punched the victim in the chest before getting overpowered, with the victim subduing Leahy with a submission hold. When deputies got there, Leahy told them he got out, threw the Nazi salute, and wanted to fight a random colored person. His words. He also told the deputies to get people of color under control, calling them savage animals and yelling slurs at the victim and the witness. There's more. After being taken into custody, Leahy told deputies that he wanted to shoot 60 to 70 people in the face and then kill himself by a gunshot to the neck. Leahy said killing people would be the most fulfilling thing he would experience in life, and that society needs to be concerned about how easy it would be for him to cause a mass shooting. He now faces charges for DUI involving property damage, threatening communications, threatening a mass shooting, and felony battery. Okay, you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Put his picture up again. That means he'll be out by next week. That's what that means. You understand? He'll be out very soon. Okay? And he actually had a point. He said authorities need to be concerned about how a person like him is able to commit a mass shooting with ease, basically. He was right about that point. And authorities are not as concerned as they should be. We've heard from DOJ officials, former officials, who say, we don't know why we continue to treat white supremacists differently, as if they are not as dangerous as they are. You even had a federal judge who said, why are we being so light on the insurrectionists? Taxpayers are paying more money for their damage than they are. Big Waz, what are your thoughts here?
It's crazy to me too. obviously, you and I don't even need to get into the ridiculous nature of these people's beliefs, right? That if you were a Nazi or a neo-Confederate or skinhead, whatever you want to call yourself, there's no merits to any of their beliefs. It's racist, it's ignorant, it's bigoted, it's horrible, abhorrent, whatever. To me, man, I'm like, this is America. We used to like winners in this country. The Nazis got their butts handed to them in World War II. The Confederates lost. You lost. You got destroyed in the Civil War. The idea that these guys are worshiping these losers as Americans, this is just societal decay, Dr. Richie. We used to want to be on the side of the victors. Now these guys worship utter failures and losers. It's sad, sad, sad to see.
Man, you made a remarkable point because you're right. Everybody they identify with, they are losers. Listen, I'm being very technical about the word here. They literally lost whatever movement they were a part of. That's an excellent point. But once again, it comes down to a core value structure. They're connecting to these failed movements, to these losers, because they hold a values core. They share sentiment. They share a belief system. Now, I'm glad that the belief system is not mainstream, but damn, man, is it? When we say it's not mainstream, you have to remember, you still got damn near half of the Republicans believing that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. You have white supremacists who are in mainstream government now, governing because thousands and thousands of people voted for them, and they're continuing to be just as racist as they were when they were campaigning. So is it mainstream or not? I think it's starting to become mainstream again, and that's why we have to keep fighting against it. Last words, brother.
And even if it's not completely mainstream, I think it's hard to argue with the idea that what is mainstream is, look, I'm not a neo-Nazi or neo-Confederate or a skinhead, but they kind of have a point. Like even if people who don't identify with those thought systems as we label them neo-Nazi, but again, if you could watch Donald Trump call Mexican immigrants and migrant workers mostly mostly rapists, mostly drug dealers, mostly criminals, and you could say, well, I don't know that that's the truth, but there's kind of some merits to that. Then that, by definition, the thought, beliefs, and systems of neo-Nazis and neo-Confederates is mainstream, right? Like even if people don't self-identify with those groups, like the overriding principles of those hate groups are stuff that a lot of Americans identify with, which is sad, obviously.
Brother, always a pleasure having you on Indisputable. Tell people quickly, how can they follow you, check out your show?
Yes, please tune into Wozni on the TYT Twitch stream. We're on vacation for the next few weeks, but we'll be back better than ever in September. So check that out. Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, you can read my stuff on The Ringer, listen to The Ringer NBA show for my decent NBA hot takes. And then Nando Vila, my brother, also a TYT contributor. We do a podcast called The Woke Bros. Please check that out. We drop those every single Thursday. Today we dropped an episode centered on Andrew Cuomo's disgraced fall from power. So please go check that out.
Thank you, big homie. Always a pleasure, brother. It's
of course, anytime. Appreciate you guys.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think my dad's Oldsmobile, and I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh, and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah. I'm like, I hit 3 cars. I don't know. So you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad. Really sorry about that. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't want to keep hitting your cars, and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat. We thugged out.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning and that weren't afraid to say, hey, this is something that is legitimate.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
Brent Welder is very progressive Democrat. He's a just Democrat. In fact, uncorrupted, not going to take big corporate PAC money. When did you start watching the show and when did you become a member?
So I've been watching for 10 years, an active viewer, but also more importantly, getting out there with causes like Wolfpack.
By the end of our campaign, we had organized about 22,000 individual contributions with an average about $27 a piece. And those initial people were a lot of TYT supporters as well.
In looking at the world in a very different way than corporate media does.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
Thank you, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks.
Thank you to TYT and all the progressives around the country that have our backs.
You know, the first and only interviews that we had tonight to be with the Young Turks as well, because you guys have been here from the very beginning, and that's what this night is all about.
And I thank Cenk very much for the very good work that he does.
Thank you so much for all in this together, and the people are so powerful, and we're gonna get it done.
Thank you for your constant support.
It's a pleasure to be with rebels. I like that.
For all of the help that you've given to the Just Democrats, to Wolfpack, to help fellow progressives, thank you guys, to all the Young Turks members that make it possible.
Hey, this is Edwin. Most of you might recognize me, well, not me, mostly my laugh from the main show.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to get the Uygur maneuver on him.
And today, my talent is Rubik's Cubes. You gotta forgive me, it's been at least 5 years since I've competed. So that's why I'm actually going pretty slow. Watch this.
All right, let me get to some of these viewer comments. Okay, TYT member Eclectic Miscellaneous says, I wish a Karen Wood t-shirts are on the way. That would be hilarious if Dr. Rich's scenario comes true. With the Karen being encountered by someone wearing the I wish a Karen Wood t-shirt, it would probably go viral. No, it would go viral, okay? Warlock says, I don't believe, I'm saying this, but the Indian COVID scheme is better than the German one. They were just greedy. That nurse knowingly, purposefully, directly imperiled the lives of others. Yeah. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon. Since the man was admittedly a fascist, I'm sure he'll get 6 months in jail and will be allowed to own a gun when he gets out. That's kind of how it goes, right? All right, super chat. Sharon Costello. Anybody notice that the husband of the last Karen tore a shopping cart out of the hands of the lady standing behind Karen? Non-human humanist, excuse me. ACC German Press, The nurse is under suspicion, but hard evidence is missing and district attorney can't yet prosecute. They are still investigating. Damn shame. David Morris, this pandemic has exposed all that is wrong with people and is not a pretty sight. Yep. Laura Estrada, I love Waz. His comments are so simple, yet so straightforward to the point. I always have enjoyed him when he is on TYT. Thank you for that, Laura. He's gone, but he definitely feels your spirit. He does a great job. All right. Kinsey Immortal, my Trump-loving cousin tells me the other day, we need to let them talk. The crazy will burn itself out. I laughed so hard. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take care of the planet. And remember, the truth is always indisputable. Welcome to the bullpen. In the bullpen today, I have Bryson Gray, Christian conservative artist, producer, and personality. Bryson, welcome to Indisputable. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, man. So we talked a little bit about this before the show. And I mentioned to you that I'm actually good friends with Lecrae, who's a Christian artist. And I asked you, since you are a Christian entertainer, or Christian artist yourself, had you had any contact with Lecrae? And you said to me that he's kind of lukewarm for you. And you mean that in the context of his faith belief, right?
Yeah, and me and him have had situations because I've tried to contact him. I contacted him privately before, but he denies the word of God in front of man, which is disgusting in my opinion.
Got you. You are a big anti-abortion guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I assume you take that from your biblical principles or the values you have received from the Bible.
Starts with that, but it's really just common sense. Even if you don't believe in the Bible, it should be common sense to be against abortion.
Okay, so let me ask you this: are you for war?
Am I for war?
Correct.
I'm against war. Take our troops out of pretty much all of these countries to stop messing with other countries.
That actually has some intellectual integrity. Are you also anti-death penalty?
I'm becoming that way. So sometimes I struggle with it because emotionally, when you see somebody messing with little kids and stuff of that nature, you want to say, I don't like that. But just to be clear, when I talk about pro-life, I'm talking about abortions, period. So I'm referring to abortion.
Well, that's the context that you would like it to only apply to. But if you utilize the phraseology pro-life, well, now I need to understand, how do you consider life in different contexts? For example, if you are a pro-life person, then I would expect you to also be pro-funding for adoption centers, or pro-funding for community homes that deal with children. I was a foster child myself. So I would imagine if you're pro-life, you're also pro-life for those that are outside of the womb, is my point, right? Outside of the womb.
Well, you want to have a conversation about outside the womb, but I'm specifically dealing with inside of the womb. So I'm dealing with abortion specifically. I'm anti-abortion. It should be illegal. Very simple.
Okay, because you believe life begins at conception?
Yes, I believe the definition of a cell is the smallest form of life by definition in biology. So then if you apply that to a human, we're talking about a human cell. So then if that's human life and you're taking it away, then obviously you shouldn't be able to do that.
Let me be graphic with you. Does sperm have a cell?
Yes.
Is that a human being?
No, I know. That's what I said, the smallest form of life. So if you talk about a human cell, when a sperm goes into the egg and okay, I'm not going through that. We all know what happens. And then when it starts growing, obviously it's doing that. And that's why you here, that's why I'm here. That's why everybody's here right now, is because of that right there. So let's not play these little weird games. We know exactly.
We're not playing games, brother. Okay. We're having an open conversation. Yeah. Because if your faith belief informs you of your stance on a woman's right to choose, let's be okay with challenging the conversation. And I will let you speak and I speak. So let me pose this question to you. when we talk about life, we're not talking about biological function, because there's a lot of biological function. We can spit on the ground and there's biology in the spit. You're not trying to save the spit, brother. So we're not talking about biological function. We're talking about a soul being placed inside of the body and a soul being present inside of the womb. That's what we're really talking about, correct? That's what makes it life.
No, I made what I said very specific. That's why I said when somebody releases a sperm and it comes with the egg and it starts creating life, when that come together and life starts growing, period. That's a human cell. So the fact that you're taking that away, and let's not act like that's when most abortions happen. Most abortions happen later than that, which is more disgusting. So later we start doing that is murder. And not only it should be simply illegal. No, I don't want no exceptions.
All right, so what about in cases of rape?
No exceptions.
In cases of molestation?
No exceptions.
In cases of incest?
No exceptions.
Now, let me go back to your ideology about where life begins. We can all agree that in the story of Adam and Eve, or Ahadam, that Adam was a biological entity first. And this biology that had the format of life, cells were functioning. There was a biological process, because according to the text that you say informs your belief on abortion, God created Adam, or God created man. So now you have your biology. But man did not become living, brother, which means Adam, as a biological entity, according to the scripture, was not living until something happened to Adam. What happened to Adam that made him a living soul?
I know what you're about to say. God breathed breath into him, but my answer is that God knew you before the womb, before you was in the womb.
Okay, so you answered the question that in the scripture that you base your opinion on, or base your faith value on, that Adam was actually a biological creature, a biological presence that had the function of life. However, scripture says that is not what made him living. He did not become living until there was a respiratory function, until God breathed into Adam, and the Bible says Adam thus became a living soul. So that means that Adam can exist biologically first without actually being living second.
There's a huge problem with this comparison you're using. The huge problem is Adam wasn't born of a woman. He was the first man created by God. And then the woman Eve was created from the rib. That's why I brought up the other scripture that said, I knew you even before you was in the womb. And that's quite simple. One of the things God hates is a shedding of innocent blood.
Well, let's go back to that. And I appreciate the conversation, brother. You and I disagree totally on the concept here, but I appreciate the open conversation. Now, the scripture you just mentioned is actually in Jeremiah 1. And God is specifically talking about Jeremiah the prophet. And the wording is, before you were in the womb of your mother, I knew you, I ordained you a prophet unto the nation. So just as you utilize the scripture in the book of Genesis to apply to a one-time situation, why do you not use the scripture in Jeremiah to apply specifically as it is stated to a one-time situation?
I gave you another scripture, you ignored it.
Okay, what was the other one? Where is it at?
I said one of the 6 things God hates is a shedding of innocent blood.
Well, we understand that, brother. And once again, that is in reference to life. And we've already established that you can have biology without having life. That's according to the text that you read in Genesis.
Are babies in a womb as they're growing? Is that not life?
I do not believe they are. No, I do not believe that's a living soul. Sir, you asked me, hold on, brother. You asked me a question. The answer to your question is, I do not believe an embryo is a living soul until there is a respiratory function. That's my belief. Your belief can be different than mine.
So as they're growing and as they're getting basically food from the mother and getting everything from the mother, as so they can grow, you're telling me that is not a living thing?
No, I do not believe that's a living soul, sir. I do believe it has the biology or the biological processes of life, just as your spit does or other elements connected to your body. But I do not believe it is an actual living soul. That is what I believe. Yes, let me take you to a policy. You do realize,
real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, when you use a spit, it's very interesting, and you're using the term "living soul" instead soul instead of life. I see why you're using that. But we talk about spit. Spit is a totally different ballgame because spit is not growing. It's not. It's not growing. It's not getting bigger. It's not learning how to do things. It's not functioning that way. Because spit is obviously obviously not life.
I got you, brother. And you have your belief, and I respect your belief and your value system. So you're a guy, you want to see less abortions happen in America. Do you support Republicans politically?
I'm a conservative. Republicans are starting to go towards further left, so they have pissed me off as of late.
But you do support conservatives that are, I guess, anti-abortion, right? Or anti-woman's right to choose. You support them.
I support that specific policy.
Okay, let me read to you some actual data. Now, this is not a projection. This is what has already happened. During the last 30 years, that's a long time, brother. The most dramatic decrease in abortion rates in America has happened under Democratic presidents, not Republican presidents. Republican or conservative presidents have either kept it the same or increased the number of actual abortions in the United States. Let me read some stats. Per 1,000 women, Reagan from 1981 to 1989 had the number at 24 per 1,000. This was rates per every 1,000 women, according to the CDC. H.W. Bush had it at 24, which kept it steady. Clinton had it at 16.2, which dropped it. Bush had it at 16 as well. And then President Obama gets in and he dramatically decreases it to 11. All right, so the most dramatic and the only decreases of actual abortion rates in the United States of America happened under Democratic presidents, which would mean if you're considering saving more lives, if you believe that abortions or abortion is murder, then you have to consider voting for a Democrat and not a Republican, because under conservatives, the abortion rate actually increases, and under Democrats, it actually decreases.
Well, none of them statutes brought up affects me at all, because like I've made clear multiple times, I want it illegal, meaning it shouldn't happen, period. So them stats has no effect on me.
All right, you do realize how ridiculous it sounds when you say you want a person who was raped to be forced to have a child. You want a girl, a child who was molested to be forced to have a baby. You realize how dumb as hell that sounds, right?
Well, it wasn't the baby that raped that person, so I don't think that's an exception.
Say that again.
The baby that's growing inside of you didn't rape you, didn't molest you. The man hopefully is in jail and or dead. But
wait a minute. So you want that person punished for taking away the choice of another individual, but you don't want that individual to have a choice as it relates to carrying the embryo into term.
No, incorrect. I want that person to be punished for raping and or molesting. I know a lot of times people try to use blanket terms like a choice, so you can use that in another place. But no, I'm specifically talking about raping and molesting because you said those words.
This is fascinating. So, and what's interesting, Bryson, is that there's a policy, or at least it existed temporarily in the state of Alabama. Alabama passed a law, and I'm sure you were very happy about this law until the court overturned it, that said even in cases of rape, abortion would still be illegal in Alabama. That law did get overturned, but keep in mind, it did get passed. And literally in Alabama, a person would get more time for aborting the fetus than what the rapist would get for raping the woman. Does that make sense to you?
No, I don't agree with that last aspect. Okay. Obviously, the person that raped the woman needs to get life. Any person that rapes somebody should get life in prison. But I do like the fact that they did that law outside of that last part.
Do you have children?
No, but I will. I have 3 siblings.
You have sisters?
I have a little sister, correct.
You ever thought if somebody raped your little sister, you wouldn't want her to have the child of the rapist? Or at least have her?
No, my sister, she will have the child.
Because you will force her to have it?
Nope, because she was a Bible-believing Christian like me and she doesn't believe in abortion.
So if your sister, God forbid, was raped.
We could talk to her, she's upstairs.
You would, well, I can have on the show another time. I'm talking to you today.
Okay.
You would counsel her to not have an abortion, but to in fact have the child of the rapist.
I already know she would have it, but I will tell her you better not get no abortion. All three, I was like, do not get no abortion. I tell everybody that who even thinks about having an abortion. I talk to people in my DMs sometimes think about having an abortion, but it's never really based on rape. We argue on something that's very rare. The majority of cases is convenience. Women just want convenience because women want to be out here having sex with who knows what, when know, and who nobody knows, and then they want to get an abortion. So it's usually out of convenience, but you haven't brought that up once.
And that's because women have talked to you and told you this?
It's just per statistics. Every statistics, rape is like less than 2% of abortions.
Why do you think the number of abortions actually decreases under Democrats and typically increases or stays the same under Republicans? Why do you think that is?
Genuinely, I do not know. But what I
care?
No, because I want it to be illegal. So what I do know is,
so you don't care about the actual fetuses or the embryo. You don't care about that. You just care about this one damn law. You don't care about the actual preserving of life. You don't care what the number is. You just care about this one issue that is a law that you want to see passed. You don't care what the actual numbers are.
Incorrect, sir. I'm not saying it's not a positive if abortions were decreased, but what I do know, and the reason I said I don't care, what I do know is if it was illegal, them numbers would decrease significantly because you would have to take a risk to go get an abortion illegally.
That's another untrue statement.
So many statistics
what you will have, well, we do have some stats of illegal abortions that led to the death of the mother. Because they were utilizing clothes hangers and people created a black market system so that you can go and seek these abortions. The bottom line is, brother, that women have had this choice legally or illegally, and instead of focusing on the policy that you're trying to push, which is completely adversarial to any common sense known to man, to push that kind of ideology without respecting a woman's right to choose, especially in situations that are egregious as rape, brother, I'm disappointed.
But I do believe in a woman's right to choose. Because in most cases, it's convenience. She can make that choice in the bedroom, just like she make every other choice in her life. So once you make that choice in the bedroom, you have to deal with, you're a grown adult woman in most cases. You need to deal with what you just did. So you can't just get rid of your responsibilities and take away a life because of your convenience. Stop being a little thought.
That's what they are to you, their thoughts to you.
Yeah, promiscuous women, correct.
Yeah, you got a woman?
Yes, I have a girlfriend, yep.
Okay, and you don't have children?
No, but just real quick, my girlfriend was actually adopted at 2 years old, and she was raised by wonderful parents, which is another reason why I'm very pro-life. I was already pro-life, but just that alone, and she's a very intelligent woman, and her mother is left for the mouth.
I'm glad you said that. I was a foster child myself. Do you advocate for stronger policies to make sure foster children have access to higher education, to opportunities in the marketplace, job training skills, etc.? Do you advocate for that?
Job training skills, yes. I'm not a fan of these universities. I think people need to homeschool their kids.
Oh, that's a shock. You're not a fan of college. Okay, that's a shock.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, just school period, not just college. It's public school system, private school system. No matter what it is, all they're doing is indoctrinating our children. That's why a lot of liberals, they claim that they didn't become liberals until they left college.
I got you, man. That's just, I mean, this has been, I don't know, interesting. I can say that. So are you a big MAGA guy? Are you a Trumpite?
I'm gonna talk about Trump because I'm God first, obviously. But I do support Trump. But right now I'm still focused on 2020, not really worried about 2024. I'm surprised we didn't get to the LGBT stuff.
But you know, wait a minute, it's 2021 though, brother.
Yeah, the election was obviously stolen, in my opinion. I thought we have. Well, you're laughing, but why?
Yeah, I'm laughing at you. You're absolutely correct. You called out. That's the first true thing you said on this show.
Why are they trying to block audits?
Okay, brother. What's really interesting about all of this is that the places that are having audits, the audits are not being blocked. Georgia has had multiple audits. Arkansas has had multiple audits. A lot of states had audits. But you also have judges that were appointed by Donald Trump who said to these cases of election fraud, these are frivolous cases. So you mean to tell me that judges appointed by Trump himself decided to engage in a massive conspiracy to steal the election from Donald Trump? And this included not only judges, but also all of the Republican governors, all of the White House staff, and including Mike Pence himself. You think it was that kind of massive cover up, correct?
Well, if you look into what the judges he appointed did, and granted, I do agree with you that he, in my opinion, Trump sometimes his judgment of character is a little off. But
a little off.
Yeah, but the judges he appointed, nobody did even give a real investigation into the cases. And like I said, I was surprised with it. I mean, it's true. I was surprised we didn't get to the LGBT stuff, because you'll be more shocked at my views on that.
Okay. What's your, and we got like 2 minutes, man. You wanted to say something about LGBTQ rights?
Well, and censorship, we didn't get to that. But of course, I want same-sex marriage illegal, common sense. But also as far as censorship, social media companies, especially the ones that are publicly traded, shouldn't have these like these Section 230 immunity things surrounding them. Because my music just got banned on some of the biggest platforms in the country, as far as Spotify and SoundCloud. Yeah. And how can you ban my music but still have music about murder? And
let me tell you why private companies can do that, and it is not antithetical to the Constitution. Your freedom of speech is a freedom that does have restrictions. Now remember, your freedom of speech basically says the government cannot do anything to intrude on that freedom, right? Or penalize you for having said freedom when you exercise that freedom. But private companies, for example, TYT is a private company. Indisputable is a show at this private company. If I wanted you to be off my show, I could just cut your mic. I haven't violated your constitutional rights. Maybe I've offended you, brother, but I have not violated your constitutional rights. So when you make a constitutional argument,
I didn't,
because of a private company, what they decide to do with your music, that doesn't equate. It's not a constitutional issue.
I did. You brought up Constitution. I said nothing about the Constitution.
So you're just saying private companies should do what you want them to do?
No, incorrect. But if you're gonna ban my music, okay, you have to ban other music similar to that.
Like, well, they don't have to, brother. They don't.
And this is where we get into the thing.
They're not Christians like you, brother.
Oh no. And now this is the argument. Now my argument is discrimination, right? Y'all like that word?
Oh, discrimination. I got it.
But it is discrimination. I can prove it's discrimination by emails, and I can pull up 1,000 popular songs.
And they're discriminating against your lyrics?
Yes, they are.
Got you, man. All right.
Discriminate against my belief system, correct?
Got you, man. Well, you continue that fight, brother. Do you? All right. I appreciate you being on Indisputable. Thank you, sir.